Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Inspector Jennifer McKinnon of the Major Crimes Division, and I'm here to talk to you today about the recent arson extortion arrests. So over the past year, there's been an increase in arson-related incidents in our city. Each one of these fires put lives at risk, caused damage to homes and businesses, and created fear and disruption in our community. We understand the concern and frustration these incidents have caused, and we thank you for your continued patience. Arson is not a victimless crime. It places an enormous strain on emergency services, endangers firefighters, first responders, and most importantly, places our community at risk. These investigations are complex and often lengthy investigations that most often don't have an immediate result. They take time. The motivation behind these investigations can be attributed to a number of factors and often have no logical reason at all. They can be crimes of opportunity, targeted attacks, and used as a weapon to extort victims. In July 2025, the Major Crimes Unit became aware of ongoing incidents involving extortion, arsons, and theft, specifically targeting businesses in our city. These locations included a number of convenience stores and a warehouse that was unoccupied at the time of the occurrence. During this investigation, it was learned that a group of individuals, some from Winnipeg and others from Eastern Canada, were sent to threaten and extort local business owners using arson as a weapon. As a result of this ongoing investigation, a number of arrests were made. Cora Penner, 31 years, has been charged with extortion ×2. James Herda, 33, has been charged with extortion ×2, disobey court order ×4, and operate a motor vehicle while prohibited. Jihad Marouf, 26 years of Kitchener, Ontario, has been charged with extortion ×2. Jerry Martin, 49 years of Montreal, Quebec, has been charged with arson, disregard for human life, arson causing damage to property, extortion ×2, and theft under $5,000. Lorenzo Lucas of Montreal, Quebec, has been charged with arson, disregard for human life, arson causing damage to property, extortion ×2, theft under $5,000, and identity theft. We also have Canada-wide warrants issued for the following individuals. Farhan Nabil, 29 years, is wanted for conspiracy to commit indictable offense ×2, namely arson, and conspiracy to commit an indictable offense ×2, namely extortion. As well as Jeremy Weeks, 40 years, wanted for extortion ×2. I'm going to ask the public for their assistance. If anyone has information of the whereabouts of Nabil and Weeks, please do not approach them. Notify your local law enforcement agency or contact the Winnipeg Police Service. In cases of an immediate emergency, we request that you call 911. If your safety is not at risk, and I would liken it to that you see somebody maybe in a Tim Hortons or a bus stop, you can call our non-emergency line at 204-986-6222. You're also welcome to call the Major Crimes Unit directly at 204-986-6219. And of course, our partners with Crime Stoppers, you can make a tip anonymously at 204-786-TIPS or winnipegcrimestoppers.org. These arrests reflect the significant work undertaken by investigators in the Major Crimes Unit in collaboration with the Winnipeg Fire Paramedics Service fire investigators spanning over many months. We recognize and commend them on their unwavering dedication and persistence to this investigation. I also want to recognize our law enforcement partners outside of our jurisdiction who played a key role in locating and apprehending these individuals. This outcome reflects the strong and ongoing collaboration among law enforcement agencies across Canada. While these arrests mark important progress, this investigation is still continuing. We remain focused on ensuring the safety of our community. So right now, I understand you're going to have a few questions for me. I'm going to do my best to answer them. I do have to remind you, this investigation is currently before the courts, And of course, as you can see, we still have 2 outstanding suspects. So I have to be mindful of the details that I can reveal in this investigation, but I'm more than happy to answer your questions. I think it's been a long time coming.
You'd mentioned, you'd said these people have been sent. Is this belief that there's someone giving these people orders to do this, or is this part of organized crime?
Are we speaking organized crime in the context of what I would describe maybe in Hell's Angels, right? Organized crime? No. This is an organized group of individuals. I will say that they didn't all come here at the same time and they didn't all commit the offenses. Different people, different locations over a period of time. And I can't speak specifically to the links amongst themselves and how that looks.
Do you believe there was someone who was instructing these people on what to do?
I don't have that information.
There were some Thai restaurants and some other places in the community that say they were also victims of this extortion and name some of the folks in this release as part of it. But why haven't WPS included those allegations, I guess, with these convenience store fires?
Because the individuals that are mentioned in the release are responsible for the locations that were indicated. Those investigations continue. And if there's further conclusions to be drawn from that investigation, we'll come out with it.
Can you give us more details on this? When were these arrests made, the 5 arrests?
So I don't have the dates. These incidents started in July, I believe the 16th, according to the release that you were provided. These arrests spanned over those months through the end of summer and early fall.
I know you mentioned that when we're talking about the links between them, but is there a link between the arrests?
Are you talking in regards to a figurehead to this?
Any kind of thing?
Well, I believe these suspects are known to each other. There's knowledge of each other. How they organized and how they mobilized to do these crimes, I don't have the information, nor would I be able to share it at this point in time.
Is there any connection to the Moon fire?
No. These people were already in custody when that fire happened. Good question.
Do you believe there are more members of this group, this gang, and more extortion cases that could be linked to them?
You know what? Honestly, I can't say.
And the fact that there's a Canada-wide warrant for these two, do you believe that they have left Winnipeg now?
I do believe they're outside of our jurisdiction, yes.
Just looking at the charges for Farhan, is there a belief that he was maybe orchestrating this? Maybe I guess we can't say if somebody else was telling him, but is he sort of the one who rounded up these folks and maybe was directing them, or what's your thoughts on that?
To be honest, I can't say. I would have no knowledge of that. However, I would say given the amount of charges he had, he has a significant stake in this investigation.
I want to ask you about in the fall or in December, you guys arrested Jesse Wheatland for a number of arsons. They were kind of all happening at the same time as this. Did that create some confusion for Winnipeg Police to try to separate these different arsons and extortions and figure out who's doing what?
Good question. And I'm happy to answer that because it speaks to why these investigations take so long. As we know, Jesse Wheatland at the beginning of the summer had started his spree of arsons at the same time that these were happening. When we're looking at the arsons, we have crime analysis, we have investigators, we have the fire investigators, and this is the collaboration we spoke of. You know, there's always a call for a task force, but this is the work that's being done between the fire department, our major crimes arson investigators, and our crime analysis to sit down and start looking at these and track them, see if there's commonalities that link them together. It became very clear when I stood up here with the mayor, my deputy chief, the chief of the fire department, and the head of the fire investigators, that there was a separation. And I think I spoke to it at that time. So we had 2 parallel investigations, one for the restaurants with Jesse Wheatland and this one, and they were happening simultaneously.
And the restaurants themselves, the convenience stores themselves that were targeted, even a lot of them are on Selkirk and mostly the north end of Winnipeg. Was there a connection between targets that you found? Like just how were they picking out the targets?
I don't have intimate knowledge about how they were picking out their targets. What I could say would be that these are standalone stores. They're small business owners. They're not part of a chain or a franchise. They're often, their employees are staffed that, there may be some barriers. And I think makes them vulnerable, right, to being targeted because you're targeting a business owner. You're not targeting a franchise of businesses. So I think it made these loan stores more vulnerable to this type of crime.
You mentioned some barriers in there. What did you mean by there were barriers in there?
Sorry, I can't.
I'm sorry, you mentioned that the businesses had barriers. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so when we look at extortion, we're trying to extort the owner of the business, but the people who are in these convenience stores are the employees. Some of these businesses had employees that may be considered new to our city. There may be some language barriers. There could be barriers with the police in regards to their experiences with police and, bringing that experience to here in Canada and, feeling like they can't contact the police. We see that in reporting in general with people who don't trust the police or there's those type of barriers. It can be a language barrier. So that makes it a challenge for us. The other thing is understanding when you have a store employee and you have somebody coming in and they don't understand what's happening, that can create a challenge of, is this an extortion? Is this an arson? Is this a robbery? So we have to filter through that as we go along through the investigation.
Just to kind of summarize, is it fair to say that this group was at least attempting to target like newer Canadians or?
I don't think it's targeting newer Canadians. I think it's targeting a community of business owners that are vulnerable to this type of extortion.
Sorry,
Was it geographically targeted?
Geographically,
I mean,
as
like,
in,
You mentioned it's around Selkirk Avenue, Main Street. Do you believe there could be other extortion cases outside that area, or do you believe it was focused kind of in that area?
so these are the cases that we know about that are related to these charges. I can't speak to anything outside of what's happening with these charges right now because those investigations are ongoing.
I wanted to ask about in October, around the same time some of this was happening, there was a jewel theft. A home-based jewelry business was targeted and robbed, and it seemed to have some of the same sort of similar. New Canadians were being targeted. It was like kind of a robbery. Is there any connection, do you believe, between this group and that robbery?
No, I don't believe so.
In November, there was also a fire at the convenience store in Logan Avenue. The owner at the time reported it to be something similar to this, an extortion case. Do you believe that is connected at all?
We're definitely considering that. That investigation is still ongoing. And if it is, it will be these individuals held, if they're found to be responsible, charges will be added on, but that is still currently under investigation.
We've spoken with business owners who are leaving the city. They're scared to be in their businesses. I mean, what do you say to them?
Oh, well, that's really disheartening to hear. Quite upsetting. I'm born and raised in Winnipeg. Dedicated my career to this city, and as a law enforcement professional, to hear that a business owner doesn't feel safe in our community really digs deep, right? What I can say to them is that I think we've demonstrated that we take these very seriously. When we had the synagogue and the Habiza Cafe targeted, it was very adamant then. I don't care if it's a bus bench or a broken window. And the same goes for these investigations. They don't rank any lesser than the work that happens in the major crimes unit. We do homicide investigations, and these arson investigations can be as involved. And I want to tell the business owners in Winnipeg, we didn't give up. We found who was responsible for the restaurant fires, and that was Jesse Wheatland. And we continued and pursued this investigation at all odds. And that meant going to other jurisdictions. we will go to other jurisdictions to resolve these cases for the business owners. So all I can say is that we're committed to the community and we're committed to their safety. And we want to develop that relationship with them so that they can report to us and we can assist them with this.
And you've obviously mentioned the synagogue and News Cafe. Previously, you also mentioned that they were targeting business owners of a community that may feel vulnerable. Was a specific community targeted here?
I think if you look at these convenience stores and the owners, they're all South Asian owned. So we can't look past that. So yes, I do believe that whether it's the community that's targeted or the standalone business itself, it's unclear at this time.
One of the things, often after these things happen, maybe not often, but we've seen videos come up online, photos. I mean, not even with this. I mean, obviously the Logan one, very sort of violent and kind of shocking video. Do those help or hinder investigations?
Thank you for asking that question. It's a great opportunity. It hinders us. I understand it. I do understand it. People feel threatened. They want to draw attention to this issue in our city. They want to be heard. So I understand why they would go to social media to vent their frustrations. But what it does is it puts us at a deficit as a police service because that's our investigation now that's out there. It can taint witness testimony. It can destroy evidence. And quite frankly, the people that are involved in that see themselves on social media can flee our jurisdiction expecting the police to be coming. So it's really a balance of, I don't want to tell people don't bring awareness, but you put us at a deficit when you put our investigative evidence out for all to see.
The trade of illegal cigarettes, the province has said this might be playing a part in this investigation. Can you talk about that or elaborate on that at all?
I don't believe I can elaborate on it. It does factor into this investigation. Each of these locations, there's different motivations and different layers to the investigation. So I can't blanket all of these businesses. It's very challenging because they're all very nuanced. Obviously, we see different suspects have different charges, different involvement in this. So yes, contraband cigarettes does factor into this investigation, but it's not the overreaching.
And I guess just for the businesses that have also said we're targets of extortion that aren't on this list, like Logan Convenience being one, what's your message to them who obviously still feel they were being extorted and aren't, nobody's being charged for those, I understand.
Well, I think it's fair to say that doesn't mean we're not going to get to an arrest on that. These all come in at various points in time. They all have their different challenges. Not a single one of these locations or investigations are the same. Some people come in masked up, some people don't. Some camera angles are great, some others aren't. Quality of camera might be fantastic in one and not in another. There might have been audio or something in a location. Witnesses might have come forward. All these things factor into an investigation, and what we have in each one determines how quickly we can resolve it. So the Logan one is still under investigation. The business owners should know that it is a priority for the police service. We have not forgotten about them. We just need the time to do what we do.
Just a quick clarification question. Outside of the 3 individuals who have a location linked to their name, are the rest believed to be from Winnipeg?
I believe, if I recall correctly, 2 of them, Cora and James Herda, have connections to Manitoba.
And then,
And then the rest are, I believe, outside of our jurisdiction.
the 2 wanted individuals, they would be outside of Winnipeg as well.
That's correct.
If you have, where are they from?
No, I don't have that information. And if I knew where they were, I would tell you. That's why we're here today.
I mean, more like this,
Yeah.
if they have, any known addresses in any provinces.
I can't give that information.
Kind of talked about, I just want to be really clear, like these people who are charged, were they sort of rounded up by Farhan and Jermaine here who are still at large, or like how were they all, because they obviously seem to be from different places and different ages, how were they all sort of picked and put together, or is that just, you don't know yet?
I'm sure my sergeants know, but that's not something I can share. That's going to form part of the investigation, which is currently before the courts. And, you know, obviously we don't want to really reveal our investigation to this two outstanding suspects that might happenstance watch this media release.
If these two individuals are watching, do you have anything you want to say to them?
We're coming for you. Simple. We're not going to stop. I think I've proven that by the other arrests that were made in the other jurisdictions. We have fantastic relationships with the law enforcement agencies across Canada, and we have contacted them and they have assisted us. And I think law enforcement, we're all committed to the same goal, and that's public safety. So it doesn't matter if you're going to be in Ontario or if you're going to be in BC, we'll come get you.